I woke inside a clock that never sleeps. Its hands were cold like chains on my wrists. Morning arrived, but freedom did not. The walls whispered the language of years, and silence guarded the door of yesterday. Time stood before me like a silent judge holding a book filled with forgotten days. Every page carried a sigh of regret, every word carried the shadow of loss, and my name echoed inside every chapter. One tried to run across the fields of memory, but the ground was made of old seconds. They cracked beneath every step I took like glass made from broken moments, cutting my feet with echoes of the past. The sun climbed the sky without mercy, dragging the hours like heavy stones, and I carried them inside my chest as if every breath was another sentence given by the prison of passing days. Night arrived wearing a cloak of silence. The moon watched like a lonely witness. Stars blinked slowly in distant sorrow, as if they remembered a life I lost before time built this endless cage. Once I was free among the mornings, running with hope through golden fields, laughing beneath the careless sky, believing tomorrow was a gentle promise, not a locked door behind iron seconds. But time changed its gentle voice into the slow footsteps of destiny, each step louder than the last, each echo closing another path, until I stood alone inside its shadow. The clocks began to breathe around me, ticking like hearts made of metal, their rhythm colder than winter wind, their sound a quiet reminder that nothing escapes their patience. I spoke to the walls of yesterday, asking them where my dreams went, but the walls answered only with dust, and dust knows nothing about hope. It only remembers what has ended. Sometimes I hear laughter in the distance. It sounds like the boy I once was, running barefoot through careless days before calendars began chasing me, before time learned my name. But the laughter fades like smoke lost inside the corridors of memory, and I stand again in the empty hall where every door opens to another year, and every year locks behind me. Time writes its letters on my skin. Invisible ink made of slow hours, lines appear beneath my tired eyes, carved gently by silent seasons, proof that escape was never promised. I sit beside the river of minutes, watching the current pull everything away. Faces drift past like fallen leaves, voices dissolve beneath the surface, and the water never turns back. Once I tried to swim against it, fighting the current with stubborn hope, but time laughed with endless patience and carried me farther from yesterday than my heart could ever follow. So now I sit on the shore of today, a quiet prisoner of invisible chains, listening to the river whisper softly stories of moments that drowned before I could learn their meaning. The wind sometimes visits my cell, bringing the scent of forgotten springs, flowers that bloomed in distant years, petals falling inside quiet memories where time once walked beside me. I ask the wind about freedom, but it only sighs through the bars and disappears into tomorrow, leaving me alone with ticking shadows and the slow footsteps of hours. There are nights when sleep refuses me because dreams fear the weight of time. They hover outside my tired mind like birds afraid of broken skies, waiting for a dawn that never arrives. In those long silent hours, I count the stars of regret, one for every word unsaid, one for every road not taken, one for every love that faded. The sky becomes a mirror of loss, reflecting the prison of my heart, and I understand slowly that time does not hate me, it simply refuses to stop. Morning returns with quiet indifference, the sun unlocking another day, yet the door remains closed because freedom is not measured by light, but by the courage to forgive yesterday. Still the clocks continue breathing their metal hearts, beating slowly, counting every fragile moment until even memories grow tired and fall asleep inside the past. Perhaps one day the river will rest, perhaps the clocks will close their eyes, perhaps time will forget my name, and the prison will crumble quietly into dust of forgotten hours. Until that distant, unknown mercy, I walk the corridors of passing days, carrying hope like a small candle inside the endless night of years, where I remain the prisoner of time. And the story continues beyond this moment, because time never truly ends. It only turns another silent page while I keep writing with trembling hands inside the diary of eternity. The diary of eternity stayed open, its pages trembling beneath my fingers. Every line was written with patience, every pause was another quiet year, and the ink was made from fading hope. I walked deeper into the hallway of hours, where shadows stretched like old memories. The floor carried footprints of yesterday, thousands of steps taken by forgotten souls who once called themselves prisoners. To their whispers lived inside the air, soft and fragile like broken lullabies. They spoke about chances they lost and mornings they never understood until evening locked the gates of youth. Time watched us all with silent eyes, never angry, never forgiving, just moving like a river of stone, calm and unstoppable in its journey through the fragile valleys of life. Sometimes I asked the darkness why we were chosen for this cage, but darkness never gave an answer. It simply wrapped its quiet arms around the questions of my heart. I began collecting pieces of moments, small fragments of forgotten seconds, a smile from a distant afternoon, a tear from a midnight confession, a sigh from a lonely autumn. They became treasures in my pocket, proof that life once passed through me, even if time carried it away like wind stealing petals from roses. Leaving only their fragrance behind, I wrote letters to tomorrow, but tomorrow never wrote back. It stayed hidden beyond the horizon like a shy promise made of light, afraid of the heavy past I carried. So I kept walking through the prison, counting the echoes of my breath, each step another silent question, each heartbeat another fading drum in the march of invisible soldiers. Years passed like drifting clouds, sometimes bright, sometimes heavy, but always moving away from me, leaving the sky emptier than before and my hands emptier than the sky. I met an old man in a dream, his beard white like winter frost, his eyes filled with ancient silence, and he smiled as if he knew every sorrow hiding in my chest. "Why do you call yourself a prisoner?" he asked beneath a quiet star. "Time does not build these walls alone. Fear and regret help lay the bricks, and memory closes the iron door." His words trembled in the air like bells ringing across eternity. I wanted to ask him more questions, but dreams are fragile travelers, they leave before dawn arrives. Morning returned with tired light, painting the walls in pale gold. For a moment, the prison looked gentle, almost like a forgotten sanctuary where lost souls come to think. Perhaps the cage was never locked, perhaps the door was always open, but I feared the world outside because freedom demands courage, and courage grows slowly with pain. So I remained in the quiet hall, listening to the clock's breathing, learning the rhythm of patience, learning the language of waiting, learning the humility of time. The river of minutes kept flowing, but now I watched it differently, not as an enemy stealing my life, but as a guide showing the way toward the ocean of understanding. Each second became a teacher, each hour a silent companion. Even sorrow carried a lesson hidden inside its heavy footsteps, waiting for the heart to listen. The nights grew less frightening because stars began speaking softly. They told stories of distant galaxies where time bends like gentle light and nothing is truly lost. Their whispers filled my tired soul with a fragile kind of peace, the peace that grows after storms, when broken branches rest quietly under the patient sky of healing. I realized something slowly, like dawn unfolding behind mountains. Time was never my enemy. It was the mirror of existence, reflecting the truth of every breath. Without time, there is no memory. Without memory, there is no love. Without love, there is no meaning, and without meaning, there is only silence, colder than the deepest night. So I placed my hand on the clock, feeling its steady beating heart, and for the first time in years, I thanked the slow passing hours for keeping my story alive. The prison walls grew thinner, not in stone, but in my mind, and the chains around my spirit loosened like tired knots untied by quiet acceptance. Still I remained inside time, but no longer as its captive. Now I walked beside its shadow like a traveler learning patience on the endless road of existence. Perhaps this is the secret hidden inside every ticking clock. We are all prisoners at first, until we understand the truth that time is also our companion, and the journey continues softly beyond the gates of understanding, where seconds bloom into wisdom and every passing moment whispers, you are not only the prisoner, you are also the story written by the hands of time. And I continued walking beside the ticking world where every shadow carried an old memory. The air felt lighter than before, yet the weight of years still followed me like a quiet echo that refused to fade. The corridors of time stretched endlessly, but their silence no longer frightened me. Each step sounded like a gentle reminder that existence itself is a journey written slowly by invisible clocks. I reached a window inside the prison, the first window I had ever noticed. Beyond it lay a sky of moving clouds, soft and wandering like forgotten dreams, drifting freely across endless blue. For a moment my heart trembled because freedom looked so simple. Outside, just wind, light, and distant horizons. No chains, no iron doors of regret, only the calm breathing of the world. But I realized something quietly. The sky had always been there, while I stared only at the walls, believing the prison was stronger than the open universe beyond it. Time smiled through the passing wind, its voice softer than falling dust. You see, it whispered gently, bars are often made from thoughts, not from iron or stone. I placed my hand against the window, feeling the warmth of distant sunlight. It traveled across years to reach me, crossing countless silent seconds, just to touch a tired soul. In that fragile moment of light I remembered all the lives within me, the child who laughed beneath rain, the dreamer who chased bright tomorrows, the heart that once loved without fear. They were never truly gone. Time had not erased them. It simply folded them carefully inside the long book of memory, waiting for me to read again. I opened those hidden chapters slowly, dust rising from forgotten days, voices returned from distant evenings, Faces glowed in golden nostalgia, and laughter warmed the cold past. The prison began to change shape, its walls softened into reflections, each stone became a silent story, each shadow turned into a lesson written by the passing years. Even sorrow revealed its meaning like rain, explaining the sky without pain. There is no wisdom without endings, there are no beginnings without time, there is no soul. So I walked deeper into understanding, carrying the lantern of patience, its light small but steady, guiding me through endless hallways where countless lives once wandered. Some prisoners still cried in darkness, fighting the hands of every clock. Others slept beneath heavy memories, afraid to wake inside tomorrow, where change quietly waited. I wished to tell them the truth, but every soul must discover alone that time is both the cage and key, both the shadow and the sunrise, both the wound and the healer. The river of minutes still flowed, but now it sounded like music, a calm, endless melody of existence where every note is a moment and every silence is reflection. I dipped my hands into its water, feeling the cool touch of eternity. Seconds slipped gently through my fingers, but I did not try to hold them, because moments are meant to travel far. Above the quiet prison, the stars continued their ancient dance, burning across the dark sky, carrying billions of silent stories older than human sorrow. And I understood another truth: even time is a traveler, moving through galaxies and ages, never resting, never stopping, always searching for tomorrow. Perhaps we are not prisoners, perhaps we are companions of time, walking beside it for a while before returning to the quiet stars where eternity patiently waits. The clock still ticked around me, but their sound felt different now, not like chains dragging across life, but like footsteps guiding my path across the fragile bridge of years. Morning arrived again, slowly painting hope across the horizon. Birds sang beyond the prison walls, their voices carrying simple freedom into the chambers of my heart. I closed my eyes and listened, and something inside me opened a door I had never seen before, hidden behind fear and regret, waiting for courage to arrive. The door did not lead outside, it led deeper into myself, where time and soul finally met, not as enemies in conflict, but as companions sharing existence. There I stood in quiet acceptance, neither fully free nor truly captive, just a traveler in the endless flow, learning the gentle art of living inside the moving river of time. And as the great clock continued turning the pages of the universe, I whispered softly to the wind, I was once the prisoner of time, but now I walk beside it.